welcome to the latest episode of Score Settled. Now we are back with another set of 5 questions. So let's begin. Number 1. Arrange the following sectors in descending order as per the Union Government Capital Expenditure amount for financial year 2023-24. Now you may note down these figures. Now for defense services, the Union Government spent approximately 1.63 lakh crores. For railways, we spent around 2.6 lakh crores. For road transport and highways, we spent around 3.01 lakh crores, right? And for telecommunications, we spent approximately 64,000 crores, the least, right? So arranging them in the descending order, we will get C, B, A and D. So C, B, A, D, option 2 will be your right answer in this case. Next question is, arrange the following steps in the proper sequence concerning the solution of a linear programming problem. Now, if you remember, first thing we always do in your linear programming is first we mark the axis, then we mark the constraints, we identify the feasible regions, and then we tend to maximize the values out of it. We find the feasible points and then we maximize or minimize the whatever is the requirement of the question. So our first step is always to point or mark the axis that we have. Let's read out the statements first. Graph each constraint as though it were binding, that is, as if it was held with strict equality. Find the feasible region, the area of the graph that simultaneously satisfies all the constraints. Superimpose contours of the objective functions on the feasible region to determine the optimal corner of the region, and construct a graph placing a decision variable on each axis. So as I mentioned before, that our first point of action is that we mark the axis. So this will be your step 1. Okay, and then we mark the constraints that are there. So A statement will be our step 2. Then we find the feasible region from those constraints. It will be our step 3, statement B. And to determine the optimal corner of the region or the optimal solution that we have that satisfies all the constraints and maximizes or minimizes the objective function at hand, that will be your step 4. So the process would be like D, A, B, C, and similarly option 2 will be your right answer in this case. Okay. Next question is that arrange the following theories in chronological order starting from the oldest to the latest. Please write it down. Rbyczynski's theory came out in 1955, right? Product cycle theory came out in 1966. Then technological gap model was in 1961, and your specific factor model was in 1971. Now we have to arrange this from oldest to the latest. So the oldest theory is Rbyczynski's theorem, then comes your technological gap, then comes your product cycle model, and last comes your specific factor model. So A, C, B, D. And which option? Option 1 will be your right answer in this case. Next, arrange the following scholarly contributions in their chronological order starting from the oldest to the latest. So please write it down. Calder-Hicks compensation criteria came out in 1939. Bergson's social welfare function criteria came out in 1938. Rawls' Principles of Social Justice came out in 1971, and Pareto Optimality came out in 1906. From the oldest to the latest, we have D, B, A, C. D, B, A, C. That is your option 4. Now, one thing that you can observe from these 4 choices that were given, Pareto optimality is one of the oldest theories out of all the 4. Right? So we can keep, make an idea out of it that yes, Pareto optimality actually came earlier to all this. Right? So D should be the first answer. And if we know this for sure, we can strike all the other 3 options in this case. Right? So 1, 2, 3 are already struck off and you are left with option 4. So as we mentioned in the previous video, you should keep such kind of logics in mind because we understand that it is impossible to remember all the dates, all the years and all the important theories and so on. But still you should have this kind of a perception or an observation that yes, this theory would be earlier, this scholar came out, released his or her work first and then the second and so on. Right? So this kind of a logic can be applied in such questions, right? It is merely to increase the probability of you answering it correctly. That's it. That's the sole purpose of it. Okay? Now, final question is that arrange the following components of monetary aggregates in descending order. Please note this, in descending order as per their liquidity, right? From the most liquid to the least liquid. Now the most liquid which we have is the cash in hand, right? That is the most liquid, right? So currency notes is the most liquid, right? Okay. Then demand deposits, lesser, right? Time deposits, even lesser, right? And money market mutual funds. Now, one thing that you can, observe is that your time deposits and money market mutual funds, right? If we would have spoken about this 20 years back, then you can say that mutual funds are actually difficult to liquidate, right? So banking operations or banking instruments are easier to liquidate than the capital market instruments. But nowadays, with digitization happening, with everything just a click away, right? Now liquidating your mutual funds is equally easier. Rather, it's like if you need the cash right now, you can liquidate it. Yes, you will be paying penalty for it, but it's okay. At least you will get some amount in your hand immediately. Okay, so nowadays, time deposits are considered to be lesser liquid than your money market mutual fund, because for time deposit, at least you have to abide by that certain amount of time. Okay, for example, you have a 1-year FD or 2-year FD, 5-year FD, and whatever be the case, right? So that is why nowadays, in today's digital world, right, the money market mutual funds are considered to be more liquid than your time deposits. And as a result, A, B, D, C is your answer in this case, right? So these were the 5 questions, right? It is important that you keep a note of the years, at least something will be retained, right? At least you will have an idea. Okay, rather than, it's better to have at least a small idea than being clueless in your exam. Okay, so with this we come to the end of the video and we'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.